Defamation Television. Eric B. Back again. Vinyl community. That's you. Friends, YouTube subscribers, non-subscribers, maybe. I don't know. It's been a while since I've looked at my analytics. It's been a while since I've done anything YouTube focused as far as my own content goes. I think I've popped up on Rachel's stream once or twice. Doctor and the Kid last week. If you tuned into that, which you should, every other week. Mr. Bizarro. I think I popped up on his channel once or twice in the last month or so. But just been kind of leaving my own content up in the air because I haven't had that motivation. I've been trying to recover from some health issues, some health fiascos, some middle-age type shit. Well, not really. It's not normal for anybody to have a pulmonary embolism. It's not super uncommon either, but if you're healthy, it shouldn't be happening. So apparently, as healthy as I thought I wasn't. And now I'm on some fucking blood thinners, which mean I can't enjoy but a few frosty brews throughout the week. So every other time, I gotta drink this fucking non-alcoholic nonsense. It's not awful. It's not great either. I'm just happy that I'm here, Could have been way worse. That said, what are we doing? What are we doing here? I had a lot of themes, a lot of plans, a lot of ideas, a lot of plots in my head as far as upcoming content. But let's face it, right now, I'm just stoked to be sitting in front of my camera again. And I just kind of figured I would do a rundown of some cool finds that I have snagged in the last few weeks. We're going to talk about some records. These are all records that I bought in person at brick and mortar shops. Small mom and pops. Now, a few weeks back, like the week after I got out of the hospital, I went down to Portland to visit some friends. Same dear friends that I always go to Portland to visit. And always hit up some of the record stores because one of the things that Portland has a lot of is record stores. Went to one that I don't go to very often when I'm in town, that being Music Millennium. Very cool shop. You can drink a beer while you shop for your records. They sell all sorts of knick-knack, swag, ephemera on top of records, and it's a big-ass record store. I went there with kind of an agenda. I didn't really find a lot that was on said agenda, but I did find this record, this Amandul 2, Dance of the Lemmings. Now, this is a third press, I believe. It is not a first or a second press, but it is the first press with the English title, Dance of the Lemmings, previously known as Tanz der Lemmings. Amandul 2, of course, were a German Krautrock band. Krautrock being a term I don't really like to throw around these days because I've gotten deep enough into it to where that blanket term doesn't fit. It's not apt. It's only apt in describing the fact that it's music from Germany. It's kind of derogatory. I don't know. Basically, weirdo German prog / space rock is what you get on this. With a lot of pop elements from the 70s as well. This album itself came out in, I want to say 72. I believe 72, I think 73 would be a little late for this one. Great record. Awesome gatefold on this bad boy. Double LP. It's all over the place, really. But it kind of goes between either exceptionally ambient and atmospheric to poppy with hints of a very deep Hawkwind influence. Although Hawkwind at that point in time had 2-3 albums out at most. Really cool record. not my favorite Amon Duel 2, but a really fun find in the wild. Music Millennium, Portland, Oregon. Here's the back again. I love this record. It's great. I think my favorite Amon Duel 2 right now is probably made in Germany, which is probably a little bit of a hot take. That album, I believe, is often maligned, unfairly so, in my opinion. Now, back in town, one of the many shops that we have here in Seattle that I frequent, and one of the nearest shops to where I live, Hex Induction Records. That's in Lake City, Seattle, Washington. I found this Flaming Lips EP from, I believe, 1990. This is the Flaming Lips Unconsciously Screaming EP. This is insane holographic cover. Fucking love it. Vinyl's very nice. Came on this super smoky brown, almost root beer colored wax. And what is this, you may be asking? It's just basically it's an EP. Unconsciously Screaming was featured on Priest Driven Ambulance, the album that came out the same year this was released. It's a great track. Definitely a track worthy of having its own EP. There are 3 other tracks on here. Ma, I Didn't Notice, follows Unconsciously Screaming. A little bit more ambient, psychedelic. B-side contains Lucifer Rising and Let Me Be It, which I believe were tracks featured as bonus cuts on reissues of Priest Driven Ambulance. And those 2 tracks are just wild, psychedelic pop rock. But veering on the exceptionally distorted, unhinged side of things. It's a really good EP. Love it. Welcome addition to my kind of small but really good Flaming Lips collection, if I do say so myself. And another local find. This was scored at Daybreak Records, a place where I have talked about often, many times. Probably my favorite, most reliable shop in the Seattle area. Put this up on their Instagram over the last weekend. And it's one that I've been listening to a lot. Just via streaming services, I suppose, while working. And that would be this Loop LP. Heaven's End. What a record, man. This is just so many things all at once. Loop kind of existed in that same space as Jesus and Mary Chain at the time. But Loop were more like exemplified probably by as much shoegaze as Jesus and Mary Chain, but also bands like Hawkwind and Davey Allen era Gong. Really spaced out, droney shoegaze on this record. It's not a bad track on here. Sounds fucking killer. I love this record. I was super stoked to find an original copy. Now, there are reissues of this that exist that are fairly common and easy to find. This just kind of landed in my lap. I had to grab it. Killer. Now, over this last weekend as well, I went to a record store, a record store. I went to a few record stores, but I also went to a record show in Seattle. Now, I usually can't go to the record shows because they typically fall on Sundays, which is my Monday. Sundays are the first day of my work week. And I always forget about these record shows until like the last minute, so not enough time to request the day off. Now, in this case, it was a record show yesterday. Yesterday was Saturday. I was able to go. It was a good time. It was there's 2 shows in Seattle. There's one that takes place in Seattle Center, and I believe that's twice a year that goes on. And then there's one that happens, or traditionally used to happen more commonly, in Lake City. Now, in this case, they actually moved it to the Elks Lodge in Shoreline, which is like a kind of northern Seattle, not super far from Lake City, but a little bit of a ways from where it has traditionally been held. It was a cool spot, kind of crammed. I got there early, but by the time I left, I mean, you were waiting like 5-10 minutes to be able to flip through shit at a table. I didn't walk out of there with a whole lot, but I did get some quality shit. And the first thing I grabbed is a Skinny Puppy Dig It 12-inch EP with the choke on the B-side. Excellent. Industrial. Dig It, one of my favorite Skinny Puppy cuts. You've got the unmistakable Gustav Dore artwork on the cover. I love that. Released by Network/Capital. I mean, what to say about Skinny Puppy that hasn't already been said in the VC, probably by somebody a little bit more eloquent than me. Spooky, creepy, whacked out, acid-imbued, psychedelic industrial noise. Awesome. Killer samples on this record. Dig It, like I said, is the star of the show, but the choke, no slouch. Also just as atmospheric and just as likely to get under your skin as Dig It. Awesome. And the second thing I picked up, same seller actually, if I'm not mistaken. One of the jazz holes that I've kind of fallen into since getting into jazz is Mr. Herbie Hancock, and they had a OG of Headhunters. I love Sextant, which is the album that precedes Headhunters, and I love Thrust, which is the album that came after Headhunters. I did not have an original of Headhunters. In fact, I didn't have a copy of it at all prior to this. And this was a great price on Columbia. Super clean vinyl. You know, the sleeve's seen some better days, but even the sleeve's not in terrible shape. You got Herbie Hancock there, front and center, and of course, disguised on the cover. This album is fucking great. I mean, what would I compare it to? Like, for people who weren't sure, Miles Davis Bitches Brew. I mean, not really. It's very fusiony, very funky. It still adheres to a lot of those same jazz tropes Herbie was sticking to in the 60s. Still present on this album, even though he's playing an electric piano instead of a standard piano. Just killer. Fender Rhodes, rocks the clavinet, Odyssey synth. Yeah, it's a rad record. Backed by Benny Maupin, Harvey Mason, Bill Summers. This is just quality. Quality, jazz, fusion, funk, fucking rules. I also picked this up at the record show. Now, I brought this in. This record kind of means a lot to me. Way back, like we're talking 22 years back. I had a bit, I've alluded to this many times, I may have outright said it, bit of a drug problem. Methamphetamines were my jam. We'll just say that I put a lot of money, I lost a lot of possessions, basically ended up clothes on my back and just a few items that I was able to save before going into recovery. This is one of the things that I saved. King Crimson, Larks, Tongues, and Aspic. In fact, this is all I was able to save is the CD right here. I printed up this and this years later at my job, my current job. So many years later, because I didn't start my current job till 2007. We're talking 2001, when that was literally, unless I miscounted my shit, literally the only CD that I had. I listened to that thing a lot while sobering up. They had a copy at the record fair. Not in the best of shape. Well loved. But the price was right, and it was right there in front of me. And I've been taking that CD in the car with me a whole lot. In fact, I listened to it like twice on the drive down to Portland. On the Atlantic label, super clean vinyl. For as dirty as this sleeve is, that vinyl, I know, is ultrasonically cleaned. The seller actually works at one of the local shops out here, and he sells at the fairs. Just a fucking great album. The era of King Crimson that I prefer probably the most. This and Red. This is my all-time favorite King Crimson record, though. Just a perfect album as far as composition, performance, the fact that it toes the line between like being very still and very almost ambient at times. But at the same time, it's also super dynamic and explosive, especially the first track, Lark's Tongues and Aspic, part 1. Of course, you've got the hit off of the album Easy Money, which is a song that you can listen to. You tell right off the bat why it's the hit. It's great. Catchy. It's got this bass groove that's like, just the bass tone on the whole album is just this dirty dirge. The tone that they achieved, John Wetton with his bass, phenomenal on this record. And you know, the rest of the fucking performances on this are just as great. Fripp, of course, on guitar, Mellotron, etc. Bruford on drums, Jamie Muir percussion, David Cross violin, viola, Mellotron. This is a fantastic record, and I'm just clearly super stoked that I found it. Kind of at the right time too, because I'm in almost a similar sort of headspace right now with, I'm having to make a lot of life changes because of the health shit that cropped up last month. Similar to what I was having to do back in 2001. So this is really hitting the spot, not just via nostalgia, but as far as the tunes, it's very I don't know, empowering. Is that the right word? Inspirational, emotive. It's just great. I love it. The last thing I want to talk about, after relieving the record fair, I didn't want to go home yet, so I stopped at another local shop, Zion's Gate, on Capitol Hill neighborhood of Seattle. Zion's Gate is a long-standing brick and mortar. Started off way back when as a mostly reggae dub centric sort of store for DJs, kind of like catering to the DJ crowd. And over the years, has actually kind of turned into more of like a metal shop, really. Like the metal section there is insanity. But good people working there. Owner, I've known and spoken to for years and years and years and years. At any rate, found this while I popped in there. Hawkwind live from 1979. First of all, I love that cover art. It's great. Kind of hurts your brain a little bit, but just great. There's a back cover. And this is an exceptional live set from 1979. Shot Down in the Night, Motorway City, Spirit of the Age, Brainstorm, Lighthouse, Master of the Universe, Silver Machine. Just a great, great display of 70s Hawkwind tracks. Going back, I think Do Re Mi, probably the earliest representation on this record. The lineup on this is kind of a small lineup for Hawkwind. You've only got Dave Brock, Simon King, Harvey Bainbridge, Hugh Lloyd Langton, and Tim Blake. But it's killer. This is a bronze release from '79. Awesome stuff. I really like. Actually, I like a lot from just about every era of Hawkwind, but I think that the late '70s into the early '80s era of Hawkwind are extremely underrated. Levitation, phenomenal. There's a lot of material there to take in, and not all of it is something you should write out just because it came out in the '80s. Again, this is from '79, so kind of gets a pass. Great stuff from a great local shop. And that's it. That's what I've got. I do have more ideas in mind, more plots. Hopefully, I can manage to bust one of those out within the next week. Until then, don't be shitty. Stay healthy. Be cool. That's all I got. Take it easy, YouTube. Thanks for watching.